Please, ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, welcome with me the Secretary General of APPO, His Excellency Dr. Omar Farouk Ibrahim, for his few minutes of goodwill at this occasion. Please, let's make the applause better, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, sir. Yes, sir.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as I sat down this morning hearing from the ES, NCDMB, the minister and the deputy governor,
Why are they doing this?
something struck me. There is a general belief that Nigeria should lead the African oil and gas industry. And it is leading. But Nigeria can do even better, much better. I know, as advisor to 4 successive ministers of petroleum resources between 2009 and 2020 in Nigeria, I know how many countries, ministers, and NOCs were writing to our ministers that they wanted to send a team to learn from Nigeria about the industry, particularly from sub-Saharan Africa. And when I went to APPO, I realized that yes, what I was seeing in the minister's office was a child's play compared to what I was seeing on the desk of the African Petroleum Producers Organization. We then created the Forum of CEOs of APPO national oil companies. We went beyond that to create the Forum of Directors of Research, Innovation, and Technology of APPO member countries, and a Forum of Directors of Training Institutions of Oil and Gas in APPO member countries. In all of this, Nigeria has played a great role. I believe that Nigeria can do a lot better. At the governmental level, Nigeria is doing great. At the private sector level, I think we need to do more. About an hour ago, when we went round to the exhibitions, we went to this exhibition stand where I saw things manufactured, produced here in Nigeria. And I stood there, the minister left, and I said, look, tell me, how much of this is really Nigerian? And we engaged in a lengthy conversation. And I said, seriously, if you have this, why do you limit it to Nigeria? Why not to Gabon? Why not to Congo? Why not to Cote d'Ivoire? Why not to Angola, Mozambique? These are all oil producing. But you limit yourselves to one country. You can do much better. And one thing I noticed, and talking now to our entrepreneurs in the industry, if you want to move to become great in the industry in terms of material production, I suggest that this mentality that myself and my children, so and sons, you want to have a company, but you want to be fully in charge of it, you and your children or anybody that you want to hire, you can fire and fire, it won't get us anywhere. If you have a company and you want to go beyond Nigeria, consider bringing people outside of Nigeria also. If you are targeting Zimbabwe, why not give 5% of the shares of your company to a Zimbabwean so that you can use him to penetrate that market? This is something that we have lacked, and this is something that has made it difficult for you to go beyond our shores. I always give an example with companies, Shell, Total, Eni, all of them. Eni is seen as, Total is French, Eni is Italian, Shell, Netherlands, Chevron, but go and see their ownership. None of them has majority ownership of the country that is supposed to have it. You go to Total, France doesn't have 50%. You go to Shell, it's the same. You go to BP, it's the same. Why is it that when you come to Africa, when you have a company, I don't want to mention names, you want it to be said that I own it? You may have all the money, you may even have the technology, but it's not going to help you develop. Our thinking in APPO today is that if we want to build an integrated oil and gas market, oil and gas industry, our people should begin to think outside their national boundaries. This is how others have developed. Now, I want to talk quickly about one or two things that we are doing in APPO. The first is the challenge of technology. We are working on establishing centers, regional centers of excellence in the various sectors of the oil and gas industry. I honestly see Nigeria as a great potential candidate for one of these centers of excellence. We've gone very far, but this is more in the sub-Saharan Africa. Believe me, when you go outside of sub-Saharan Africa, we haven't started. And I think the earlier we told ourselves some bitter truth, the better for us, so that we can double up and catch up and be able to give the leadership that we are destined to provide. We can't do this without funds. And that informed our decision to move on to establish with Afri-Exim Bank, the Africa Energy Bank. By the time we launch this bank in the next 2 months here in Abuja, in Nigeria, it will be the development financial institution that has been conceived and brought to reality in the shortest possible time. Every other development financial institution, whether it's Afri-Exim or Africa Development Bank or whatever, took much longer from conceptualization to becoming a reality. We first signed an MOU with Afri-Exim Bank in 2022. By 2024, we had completed all the negotiations and had produced the establishment agreement, the charter, and we had identified a capital. And as I speak with you today, we don't have not just a charter and an agreement, but we have a treaty, because the minimum number of countries required to sign the agreement and to ratify it have done it. And this is what we want to do. We also have the money with which to start, and I challenge all of you in the industry. Please take this as an opportunity to grow the industry, to grow your companies, and to grow your institutions. The era of depending or relying on Europe and America for funding for your oil and gas is gone. They don't believe that you should get it. Apart from the ideological thing about climate change, the fact is the new era for oil and gas is on the African continent, and everything will be done to discourage you from exploiting it for your own good. And that is why we decided that we want to be able to stand on our own feet. That is why, despite all the distractions, we've gone ahead, and today we are proud to say that without financing from the traditional financiers of our industry, we have been able to meet all the requirements to establish our own bank for the good of our own people, so that we produce energy for our people, not energy for others. For 70 years, we have been producing energy not for our people, but for others. The time has come for us to produce energy for our own people so that we change the lives of our own people. I want to commend the NCDMB for the leadership role that it has been playing, not just in Nigeria, but on the African continent. Towards the end of this year, I believe on September 22nd to 25th, we are going to have the third Africa Local Content Roundtable. Because of the key role that the NCDMB has been playing, a special request was made to Nigeria to please allow the NCDMB to be part of the steering committee of that roundtable. I felt good when this was, the request was brought to the APPO Secretariat from the Congolese government that Nigeria, NCDMB, has been so recognized. I wasn't surprised anyway, because like I said, from 2010, I have seen it coming, and I feel proud that as a Nigerian sitting on that desk, they are coming to me to say that, look, we have recognized Nigeria as a leader, and we want them to help us. Please do everything you can to sustain that positive perception that the world has of you. We can't move Africa forward without energy. I need to see one country in the world that has been able to change the living conditions of its people without energy. None. And the earlier we understood that time has come for us to control the technology of the industry, the finances of the industry, and the market of the industry, the better for us. I thank you very much.